Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You quite simply can't have the music without the people. And guess what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals and pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like what we're doing around here, I'm assuming you do because you're listening. So please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on all your favorite podcast providers like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. Give us a 5-star rating too. We'd appreciate it. This is an audio-only experience after all. And also, in case you're not on a podcast provider, we archive every single one of our episodes over our In the Seats YouTube channel. So please give us a like and subscribe over there as well. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're at far too many places, like Facebook, X, or Twitter, as it were, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Tumblr, Letterboxd. It's too much, but we're in the seats for all sorts of fun stuff and updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that ultimate kindness, come on by and pay us a visit. We got a good one, boys and girls. On this episode, we're talking music, as we do like to do from time to time. And we are talking to the one and only Hildur Guðnadóttir. I got that right. Composer of films like Hedda, composer of the new 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, the Joker movies, Chernobyl, a bunch of great stuff. Really one of the best working musicians out there, and we had a fantastic conversation about her work on Hedda, sort of the relationship between composer and director, composer-actor, and a whole bunch of fun stuff. She was a great, great interview, and we certainly hope the best for her this award season, because that's what we're in the middle of right now, award season. We're plugging away. We're watching stuff. We're talking to people. We're having a good time. But if you haven't seen Hedda, it's on Amazon Prime right now, Prime Video. It's a fantastic film. 28 Years Later, Bone Temple is in theaters this coming Thursday. But first, enjoy our talk with Hildur about the nuances of film composing, because it's a darn good conversation. We had fun with this one, and I think we will too. See you again soon. Fantastic. All right. Well, obviously, first off, thank you so much for the time. I genuinely do appreciate this. And I mean, congratulations on the work, man. I'm a big admirer. I've been loving it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, I guess my first question is, and this is always sort of the curious one, because obviously as a composer, they can bring you on late, they can bring you on early, but it felt with Hedda, the music was so in tune with the vibe that Nia was putting out there. I mean, it felt like Vangelis did a big band record, and I mean that in the best possible way, but I absolutely loved it.
It's taken in the best possible way, for sure.
When did Nia kind of bring you on board to the project? Because you guys felt in sync, very much so, just in watching the film.
Yeah. I came in quite early, so let me think. I think it was just basically right after she finished the script.
Love it.
Yeah. I read it, and that's kind of my preferred way of working. I love coming in early in the process, and I love having these discussions before any shooting starts. About like how the music can really be a part of the whole story. How the story is told, and how the music can really not just underscore what's happening, but really be a part of the story. And that was very much the case for this film. And the music kind of it kind of plays like a few different roles. So I always think it's really interesting to when you're working on period pieces. I think it's really interesting to understand what's happening in the period where the film and the place where the film takes place. And in this case, it was in England in the the early 50s, and so I was kind of researching what was happening in England at that time, and one of my favorite composers that was working in England at the time was called Cornelius Cardew, and what he did, he would make these large scale performances with amateur musicians and professional musicians together. So and
Mm.
it was largely vocal performances because that's obviously the instrument that everyone has access to. And I loved the energy of that brought to the music of having all kinds of different people singing together. And so I was imagining for this film, I wanted to kind of incorporate that energy because it was so of the time and it was so exciting of that place. I wanted to bring that way of thinking into the film. So I was imagining him being in the party as a part of the artist community that was in the party, and I was imagining him kind of putting together early iterations of these performance ideas. So I went on set when they were shooting, and I put together a choir of the
Right.
cast and the crew. So 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 we recorded this choir in the place where the chandelier breaks in the film. So we were recording around this broken chandelier. We were all like singing together and breathing together, and so that was one kind of element of kind of bringing the people of the film into the process, and that and by the people of the film I mean like everyone in the process, because it's like it was like a
Well,
sound operator
yeah,
and a
yeah.
gaffer and
Oh,
you know
totally. Yeah, yeah.
it's just like I think the wonderful thing about films is that so many people come together to make it happen, and I really wanted
100%. Yeah.
I wanted to celebrate that. So that's one way that the music is touching into the actual process, and the people in the process, and the time that it's made. And then of course there's the band element as well, because of course there's a band playing in the party. So I arranged the songs that the band is playing, and that of course was done before the shooting as well, because they had to the actors had to play that music. So knowing that the band was going to be very important to the whole sound element and the music element of the film, I wanted to kind of incorporate the band and the kind of jazz element of the band also into the score. So that's why I kind of decided to lean on the drums, and the kind of the excitement that the drums brought, because also like one big discussion that we had in the beginning was that we wanted the film to feel exciting and kind of you know energetic, and we wanted people to be excited about it, watching it, and not just like, oh, okay, I'm watching this like really famous play and I have to watch it, and it's a bit of a chore. So we wanted people to kind of be excited and animated while watching it. So we thought that the music would be helpful in that case. So that's where the band and the percussion comes in, of course. And then having songs in a band, it also made sense to kind of write the song for the band to play, which then became the kind of main love theme of the score. So there's like lots of different layers that the music is kind of working into.
Well, and I love the jazz idea because again, this felt like music where you had to understand where not to play notes and where to
Yeah,
leave the silence. It was that kind of movie,
exactly.
and it was that kind of music that sort of the music that elevated the whole piece as well. Like when you're putting something like this together, I got to imagine, like you said, you prefer to come in early.
Yeah.
It's not just about making music; it's about knowing when not to make music.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's one of the most important parts of the job, I think, is like finding that balance of when to make space for the performances, and when to be a part of the performance, and when to take over and let the music tell the story. And I really feel that a lot of the time it's better to have space between the music, to really be able to come in with big statements when the music comes in.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean that leads into something else I've been dying to ask because I got to screen Bone Temple the other day, and
Oh,
obviously, you know,
great.
you second back to back working with Nia.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day. Obviously,
It
congratulations again
does.
on that.
Thank you.
It's one of those things where I'm always curious with the composer's job, especially when they're coming into a world that already has sounds and already has music.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not rewriting the script. You kind of just have to add layers on top. I imagine it's probably the same thing with Tar, where
Mm-hmm.
music was so dominant. Like, how do you sort of get your stuff in when there's already a lot going on?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a huge thing with Bone Temple because that of course, I mean, it's it's a film series that's been so popular. I mean, especially
Yeah,
the first film was just like so amazing. It was so incredible, and I think that the way that the music was working also in that film was like so exciting and so amazing when that first came out. So it's definitely those were like big shoes to follow. I think with the first film especially. And the interesting thing, you know, as well with that was that that you have this very kind of iconic series and film, and then you have the this work process of making two films simultaneously. Part one and part two were
yeah, yeah.
made at the same time. And the crazy thing was that I didn't see anything and I didn't hear anything of part one when we were making part two.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I read the script, so I knew what the story was, and I knew that the how part two was following the story of part one. But I had no idea how they were going to go. I knew who was writing the score, like I knew it was this band, and that's all I knew. So I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, and that was kind of uh, it was kind of terrifying, but it also was kind of freeing for me because it meant that part one just couldn't affect anything that I was doing for part two, because I was just like I was completely in the dark with it. So I saw part one in the cinema with everyone else
Wow.
when
Okay.
that first came out. So I've probably never been as nervous going to the cinema because I had already delivered everything that I did, and I was like, oh my God, I wonder what they're gonna
I
do.
gotta come back. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really it was a super weird process, but also kind of very exciting at the same time because it was just so unusual because normally you know what the films are that come before, and you decide whether or not to take any of that information into the work that you do. But in this case, I just couldn't physically do it, So, but there were of course elements that I knew that it's always been the sound world of these films has always kind of incorporated a band, so
Yeah.
that's why I felt it was important to have a band be a part of the score. So that's why my band Osmium gets to play a little role in the music of this one. And also I think that especially in the first film, I feel like there was this this element of having this really beautiful music set against the kind of the horror of the film that I
Mm.
felt worked so well, and it was so beautiful. So the way that I approached the score does kind of echo that way of thinking, so that's why there's this almost like kind of baroque theme that plays through the film, that's kind of echoing somewhat this kind of beauty in the horror, and then at the same time, because we have all these phenomenal bone structures in the film, it was kind of impossible to not make a bunch of bone instruments. So a lot of the score is played with bone instruments that I made, like bone flutes and bone percussion and like various
And you're weaving that
horns.
seamlessly in between sort of Duran Duran and Iron Maiden tracks, which I got to
Yeah.
imagine is a challenge in and of itself.
But I think, the whole I had so much fun scoring this film. It was so completely bonkers. And I again, like, I came in really early, so Nia and I had all these discussions about making the bone instruments and having this kind of baroque theme. So I wrote the theme like really early on, before also they shot the film and all of this. So we kind of knew where we were heading already. But I think the film is so wonderful and crazy and weird and scary and funny and it kind of just strangely beautiful at the same time. And it was a mix of these, these all these wonderfully crazy elements that was just so fun to work into. So it was a really, really fun process. And it was this kind of process that, even though, the weight of that kind of, the historical place that the series holds could have been daunting. It was just like this film itself was just so crazy and fun that I didn't really have time to think about the daunting part of it.
I mean, how do you even get the job? I mean, does Nia call you when you're finishing the deliverables on Hedda, going, "Oh, by the way, we've got this next one coming up. I need your help."
Pretty much. I mean, we kind of did these two films just really side by side. Like
Yeah.
they had that kind of, because of the strike and all of this kind of the post production of Hedda really kind of took much longer than we expected, and then we kind of went just in parallel into both tempos. So so it was pretty much just simultaneous.
No, I'm curious on something like Hedda. I mean, do you get any time on set or even with actors? Because I mean, there are some pieces that feel so in tune with what Tessa's doing and so in tune with what Nina's doing. Like, I'm kind of curious, is there any kind of back and forth there, or do you just sort of have to sit back and be an observer?
Yeah, no, we did have this back and forth, and of course they had I did the percussion recordings and the band recordings before they shot, so they
Mm.
had access to all of these recordings, and we knew that the percussion was going to be the kind of the driving, the driving mechanism of the film. So we knew that her planning was going to be really motivated by the percussion, so she was able to draw from that, like, while she was performing. And Nina Hoss, of course, is a very good friend of mine since we worked together on Tar, and so
Oh,
we had
yeah.
we had discussions of, about that. And so there's all these, like, lovely ties within that.
No, I'm curious because for audiences, when they think of musicians who score music, they go to John Williams.
Mm.
But it does feel like in the past 20 years, there has been such creative freedom for a wide swath of different artists to be able to get into the film composing space. Like, what is it about composing music for film and television that kind of drew you into it?
Mm. Well, I started in theater
Mm.
in the late 90s. Like, that's when so I was just like a teenager when I started working with music as a means of storytelling, in theater. And um and I just really fell in love with how you're able to tell a story through music. And I fell in love with this process of creating an experience and a story together with people, like, stage design and light design and costume design, and of course, writers and directors and actors. I loved that collaboration that happened in the theater. And of course, when you work in theater, you have to be there the whole time. You're there from, on every rehearsal basically, and you're there through the whole process. So you have a lot of intense discussions with all the departments, and when you're working. And I love that. And I really think that there's so much that music can bring to that process. There's so much that, in terms of just setting a tone and setting a tempo and setting a feeling. I think music is so well suited for all of that, because that's what music is. And so I started kind of working in film just out of like naturally out of working in theater. Like I was working mostly in Iceland, of course, and Scandinavia. in theater, and then some film directors started to approach me and to ask if I was interested in working in film as well. And I've really been curious about all mediums. I've never been kind of wanting to be specifically kind of only stuck in one medium. So
Right, right.
I've always been curious of, like, lots of different way of expression through music, and so films just seemed like a natural part of that trajectory. So I just, yeah, I started to do more films, and then you know more and more films after that. And I also, like, I love, because I, of course, I started, I didn't set out to become a film composer
Yeah,
specifically. It's just like one of the things that I did. And of course, I see myself as a musician and
yeah.
composer, and films just being one of the things that I do. But because I think, I had already released a few records by the time that I was, taking on these bigger film projects. And so I have had kind of established what it was that I was interested in doing as a solo musician and as a composer. I had already kind of established a language that I was very interested in. And
Mm.
so that kind of meant that, when I got approached to do these films, I was approached to write them as myself. Like, I was not approached to write as John Williams or
Right, right.
Hans Zimmer or anyone like that, because I already had a language, and I think that's been really wonderful for me, because that's really enabled me to just be myself as a musician working in film, and the kind of liberating thing for me, and why I keep kind of coming back to this film work, is that, I get to explore things that I probably wouldn't necessarily have done myself, just as if I was just composing for myself, or composing for a concert or something like this. I get to explore ways of making music and recording, and exploring, in directions that I, like this Hedda score. Like, I would have probably never done like a jazz record
Right, right,
myself,
right.
or like the Chernobyl score. Like, I
Oh
probably
yeah, my
wouldn't
God,
have,
yeah.
I probably wouldn't have, just by my own accord gone into a nuclear power plant, and decided to make a whole record just out of the power plant and no instruments. So,
But it's
so
cool that
I
you
think,
got to, so I appreciate that.
yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it was so wonderful. And working in this medium has just, it's just opened so many amazing doors to me that I didn't even know knew existed, until, because when you start working on a story, and when when I first take on a project, I always see it as this universe of its own. So I always try to approach the story for, okay, how can I just be of service to the story, and how can sound and music, like, really kind of bring something to how the story is being told, not just through music, but through the story telling of the music, and the storytelling of the making of the music, and kind of combination of what's happening on screen and in the story. And I think that, yeah, it's just brought me, to so many fun and exciting
It's
places.
about finding the right balance of chocolate, the right balance of peanut butter, and then putting it together. Yeah.
Yeah, and continuing to be excited about the process, I think, and just, kind of continuing to. I always just try to make sure that I'm learning something new, and I'm exploring something new, and I'm keeping myself curious and excited, and like, as a student of music and sound, I keep
But I
trying
mean,
to learn more
ultimately,
stuff.
does the creative process for you like start in this room with that piano behind you? Because I mean, again, with the advent of technology, you don't need to be in an orchestra pit with John Williams. You could do a whole movie score and not leave that room.
Yeah, which is a lot of the time when this is really where I spend most of my time. Yeah, no, I think that's a beautiful thing, especially about, that technology today. It just, it's so open, and you can do so many things, yourself, and that's so exciting. you can go to all these crazy places and record because you can just, bring a microphone and a computer, and you can go visit all these people all around the world, or not even leave to see them, but like, get files that they record and send you, things like that. So there's so many things that you can do now with the help of technology, which I think is very, very exciting. I am always I'm really excited about the process. Like, it's really the process of making the work that excites me more than the end product of the work. Like, I'm not super fixated on what the end result is. Like, for me, it's the most important thing is to be excited about the work itself, like while I'm working, and how
Oh,
I'm
for
working.
sure. For
So
sure.
that's
And I
really,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. And I mean, just I got to put a bow on this for you, but I'm curious because obviously it's award season and you have won an Academy Award before. Obviously, congratulations. But I mean, again, it was the year everyone had to wear masks and not touch each other, so that was probably a bit of a bummer. Like,
Well, I was lucky because when that Oscar ceremony took place, it was like a week before lockdown or something. So it was just a very lucky coincidence that we were like right before lockdown or
you snuck
something.
right in there. That's
So we
right.
were
Yeah.
still like hugging and kissing and toasting and cheering.
But I mean, can you enjoy the process of like award season and sort of getting wrapped up in it all? Or at the end of the day, is it just about, hey, people are connecting to the work, people are enjoying the work, and people keep
Mm,
calling me to work?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not like a huge uh extrovert in the case that like it's I enjoy myself the best when I'm literally just in a room playing my instrument.
Right, right.
you know or I'm just working, working myself on something. That's really when I enjoy myself the most. So going out to events was both very like new to me, and kind of exhausting because it's not really my element. But at the same time, um I think award season is like, I mean, it's really intense, and I kind of got thrown into it, in the deep end, like, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had Chernobyl and Joker the same year, and both kind of blew up into spheres that I didn't even know were possible. So I was kind of, it was very much yeah, it was very unknown to me when all that happened. But so I was very confused, basically, that whole award season, because I was like, what is going on here?
Exactly. I totally understand.
Yeah, I was just like, whoa. But yeah, but what I've really come to appreciate and enjoy and love about award season is that, because as the composer, you don't really see that many people in the
Right,
production, because
right.
most of your work is alone in a room. And that's what the part that I really, really come to love is just to be able to see everyone, the actors and the director and the editor, and just like the people in the production that I've emailed like 100 million times, but I just don't really get to be in the same room with that much. So I think that's one aspect that's been really fun and wonderful. And also at the same time, I think it's because I'm of course in Berlin, so the biggest part of the industry is definitely not in my home city. So I don't get to see other composers very often either. So that was also a really wonderful thing to get to, yeah, to get to do, was just to meet other composers, like at these events, and the ACL events, and all
For
of these
sure, for
things,
sure.
to just to kind of get to hang out a bit, and kind of get to know the community, because I've been quite isolated. So there's like lots of these things that, yeah, that I really come to enjoy. And also, having conversations like this with people that are normally just like real music nerds, and and love
Well, thank
music.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I can see that on the wall behind you, that
Physical
I'm
media, it is
sitting
my curse. It is my curse.
I can see that I'm speaking to a fellow nerd. So
Oh, 100%. We've won. I've declared that the nerds have won. We're ruling the universe now. But I mean, Hildur, I honest to God think you're one of the best musicians working today in the space. And I mean, I've really enjoyed your work from minute one. I mean, just congratulations on all the success. And I mean, just again, thank you for the time and the insight today. I really do appreciate it.
thank you so
I'll let you
much.
go to bed. I know it's late for you.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, great to meet you. And thanks for
nice to
the
meet
time
you. All
today.
right. Talk again soon.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.